Om Shanti. This is the Avyakt Murli of 7th of March, 1988. And the title is The List of Elevated Fortune of the Elevated Children. Today, Bap Dada, the bestower of fortune, is seeing his fortunate children. The fortune of each Brahmin child is extremely elevated compared to the ordinary souls of the world, because each Brahmin soul is among the few out of millions, and one among that few. On the other hand, there are 5.5 billion souls, and on the other hand, there is the small world of you Brahmins. You souls are so few compared to the rest of them. This is why, in comparison with those souls without knowledge, who don't know, all of you Brahmins are extremely fortunate. Bapdada is seeing that the line of fortune is sparkling very clearly like a tilak on the forehead of each Brahmin child. Worldly fortune tellers see the fortune on the hands, whereas the line of divine, godly fortune is visible on each child's forehead. The foreheads of the fortunate children are constantly sparkling with spiritual light to the extent that their fortune is elevated. What other signs of a fortunate child are visible? There will be the experience of constantly having a divine smile, a spiritual smile on the face. The eyes of a fortunate child will constantly be instrumental in creating waves of happiness within whomsoever he meets. Whoever receives his vision will experience spirituality, godly remembrance, and the spiritual father. Each soul who comes into contact with a fortunate soul will have the experience of lightness, that is, of light. Brahman souls will remain number-wise till the end, but these are the number-wise signs of all the fortunate children, and they will continue to be revealed even more in the future. Let the time carry on for a little bit longer. Within a short time, when you have the experience of both the extremes and the end, those souls in all four directions who don't know will have an attitude of limited disinterest, whereas you fortunate souls will be experiencing the attitude of unlimited disinterest. As yet, those worldly people do not have that disinterest. Now, after little rehearsals take place, they fall asleep again in the sleep of carelessness, thinking that they will keep happening. However, when the scenes of the extreme and the end appear, the attitude of limited disinterest will be created automatically. And due to there being extreme tension, everyone's attention will be drawn to the one Father. At that time, the sound that will emerge from the heart of each soul will be that the Creator of all, the Father of all, is one, and the intellect will automatically move away from all other directions and go in the one direction. At that time, the stage of few fortunate children having the attitude of unlimited disinterest will become natural and constant, and the line of fortune on each one's forehead will be clearly visible. Even now, what is it that always remains in the intellect of you elevated, fortunate children, God, Bhagwan, and the fortune, Bhagya. This remains in the intellect, does it not? Check from Amrit Vela and make a list of your fortune. At Amrit Vela, the Father himself wakes the fortunate children and also invokes them. Those who are extremely loving children also experience that someone is not letting them sleep, even though they wish to go to sleep. Someone is waking them. Someone is calling them. This is the experience you have, is it not? Just look at your fortune from Amrit Vela. In Bhakti, the devotees consider deities to be God and ring bells to awaken them, whereas here it is God himself who wakes you. It is such great fortune. From Amrit Vela, Baba becomes the server and serves you. He also invokes you. Come, experience the stage of being equal to the Father. Sit with me. And so, where is the Father sitting? In a high place and in a high stage. And so, if you are sitting with the Father, what would your stage be? Why are you laboring? Just come and sit with me, and you will automatically be colored by the company. The stage automatically becomes according to the place. Just as when you come to Madhuban, what does your stage become? Do you have to have yoga? Or is there yoga anyway? Do you have to make effort? This is why you desire to stay a little bit longer. If all of you received an order to stay for another 15 days, what would you do? Dance in happiness. So, just as the place has an influence over the stage, in the same way, at Amrit Vela, either go to the supreme abode or to the subtle region and sit with the Father. If Amrit Vela is powerful, help will be received automatically throughout the day. Therefore, keep your fortune in your consciousness. Wow, my fortune, that my day begins with God. Then look at your fortune further. The Father himself becomes the teacher and comes from the faraway land to teach you. He comes to teach you, does he not? People try to go to God, whereas God himself, in the form of the teacher, comes to teach you. It is such great fortune. And he has been carrying out the duty of service for so long. Does he ever become lazy? Does he ever make excuses such as, today I have a headache, or I wasn't able to sleep last night? So, just as the Father becomes the tireless server and does service, in the same way, the children should also be tireless servers like the Father. However, just see in your daily timetable how great your fortune is. Baba says, to the constantly loving, long lost, and now found children, whatever service you do, whether it's lokic or alokik, service of the family or service at the center, whatever actions you perform, whatever duty you fulfill, always have the experience that Karavanhar, the one who makes you do it, is enabling you to do it. In order for it to be carried out, I have been made an instrument, Karanhar, the one who does it. For the sake of service, Karavanhar is making you do it. Here also, do not remain alone. Baba in the form of Karavanhar is with you at the time of performing karma. You are just an instrument. God is Karavanhar, especially for me. Why do you do anything by yourself? When there is consciousness, I alone am doing something. This consciousness of I is a door for Maya. Then you say that Maya has come. You have just opened the door for which Maya has been waiting in anticipation, and since you have provided all the arrangements, why wouldn't she come? Also, keep the fortune of yours in your consciousness that the Karavanhar, one who is inspiring actions, Father is making you perform each action, and then there won't be a burden. The burden is always on the Master. There is never a burden on the companions. When you become the Master, there is a burden. I am a child, and Baba is the Master, and so the Master is making me, the child, to do it. When you become big, there is great sorrow. Become the child and do it. Do it according to the directions of the Master. Therefore, this great fortune in which Baba becomes responsible for each action is such that it makes you light and makes you fly. However, what happens instead? When an obstacle appears, you say, Baba, it is now up to you. Only you know what should be done now. And when the obstacle is removed, you become intoxicated. But why should you do anything for such an obstacle to come? Simply continue to perform every action according to the direction of Baba, Karavanhar. The karma will then be elevated, and the fruit of elevated karma is constant happiness and constant lightness, and you will continue to experience an angelic life. Angels come into the relationship of karma, but do not become bound by any bondage of karma. And since there is the relationship of Karanhar Baba, there can never be the arrogance of I and the consciousness of being an instrument. You will become constantly humble in carrying out the task of renewal. So, did you hear how great your fortune is? And who is feeding you with Brahma Bhojan? The very name is Brahma Bhojan. It isn't Brahm Bhojan. It is Brahma Bhojan. Brahma is constantly the protector of the yajna. Each child of the yajna, that is, each Brahmin child, has to receive Brahma Bhojan through Brahma, the Father. People just speak casually that God is feeding them. They don't know who God is, yet God is feeding them. However, for you Brahmin children, it is the Father who is feeding you. Even if you are earning and accumulating in Lokic life, although you buy your food from that, you first put your earnings into the Father's Bhandara. The Father's Bhandara then becomes the Bhandara of Bholanath, the innocent Lord. Never forget this method. Otherwise, you will think that you yourself are earning and that you yourself are eating from that. You are a trustee. A trustee does not own anything. It is my earnings. They are eating from my earnings. These thoughts will never arise. Since you are a trustee, you have given everything to Baba. It now belongs to you. It doesn't belong to me. A trustee means to have the consciousness of yours, whereas a householder means to have the consciousness of mine. And so, who are you? You are not householders, are you? God is feeding you. You are receiving Brahmabhojan. Those who are Brahmin souls automatically have this intoxication, and Baba guarantees that Brahmin souls will not be hungry for 21 births. You will be fed dal and roti with a lot of rice. You will also be fed sabzi, vegetables. In this birth too, you will eat the dal and roti of love, not of effort, but of love. Therefore, from Amrit Vela, keep within your consciousness the fortune that you have received. Think about your whole timetable in this way. It is also the Father who puts you to sleep, singing you a lullaby. Go to sleep in the Father's lap, and all tiredness and illness will be forgotten, and you will rest in comfort. Simply say, Come Rama, Arama, Aram, and you will be comforted. When you sleep alone, thoughts continue to come one after another. Go to sleep with the Father. Go to sleep in the lap of remembrance. Go to sleep listening to the lullaby of sweet child, lovely child, and see what a unique experience you will have. So, from Amrit Vela until night time, God is making you do everything. The one who makes everyone move is making you move. The one who makes everyone do something is making you do it. It is such great fortune. Therefore, constantly keep this fortune in your consciousness. Let this emerge. Unless one drinks a drink for limited intoxication, intoxication will not rise. If it is just kept in the bottle, would you become intoxicated? Similarly, the intellect has been filled with it, so now use it. To bring it into the consciousness means to drink it, to let it emerge. This is known as becoming an embodiment of remembrance. You have not been told to keep it merged in your intellect. Become embodiments of remembrance. You are so fortunate. Therefore, keep your fortune in your consciousness every day. Become powerful and continue to fly. Do you understand what you have to do? Double foreigners have the experience of limited intoxication, so now keep this unlimited intoxication in your consciousness, and the elevated line of fortune will remain constantly sparkling on your forehead. It will be clearly visible. At the moment, the line of some is merged, and for others, it is clearly visible. However, if you constantly keep it in your consciousness, it will remain sparkling on the forehead, and it will continue to give this experience to others. Acha? To the elevated, powerful souls who are constantly embodiments of remembrance of God and their fortune, to the elevated souls who constantly have the consciousness of being Garanhar while performing actions, to the fortunate children who remain in the high place, in a high stage with the Father at Amrit Vela, to the special Brahmins who give others the experience of the line of elevated fortune through their forehead, to such souls, Bapdada's love, remembrances, and Namaste. Om Shanti